They earned millions, then lost everything. What led them to homelessness? Here are the untold stories behind their shocking downfall. Jennifer Lopez, born July 24, 1969, in the Bronx, New York. At 18, she got into a massive fight with her mom. Her mom wanted her to go to college. Jennifer wanted to dance. She got kicked out of the house and spent months sleeping on a ratty old sofa in her dance studio. She went hungry, she went cold, but she didn't quit. She eventually landed a gig dancing in Europe, came back to the US, and got cast as a fly girl on In Living Color. That changed everything. Today, at 56 years old, she has built a global empire. Halle Berry, born August 14, 1966, in Cleveland, Ohio. At 21, she moved to New York City with big dreams. 3 months in, she ran out of money. She called her mom asking for help, and her mom said no. That tough love made her angry, but it also made her strong. She stayed in a homeless shelter, worked as a waitress and a bartender during the day, and went to auditions whenever she could. She went from that shelter to winning an Oscar. Today, at 59, she's one of the most respected actresses in Hollywood. Kelly Clarkson, born April 24, 1982, in Fort Worth, Texas. She moved to Los Angeles to chase music, crashing at a stranger's house. One day, that house burned down, and everything she owned turned to ash. She spent a few nights sleeping in her car, cleaning herself up with wet wipes and wearing the same sneakers every day. She was about to give up and move back to Texas when she decided to audition for American Idol. She won. That show changed her life forever. Today, at 44, she's a Grammy-winning superstar. Hilary Swank, born July 30, 1974, in Lincoln, Nebraska. She and her mom drove to Los Angeles with just a few dollars in their pockets. They slept in the back of their Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Sometimes they snuck into empty houses for sale, blew up air mattresses, and had to leave before the real estate agents showed up in the morning. They drove back and forth to auditions, barely getting by. Then came Boys Don't Cry, her first Oscar, then Million Dollar Baby, her second. Today, at 51, she's a 2-time Academy Award winner. Chris Pratt, born June 21, 1979, in Virginia, Minnesota. At 19, a friend invited him to Maui, Hawaii. He ended up living in a van infested with fleas and mice, camping out on the beach, working 15 to 20 hours a week, fishing, and just figuring out life. While working as a waiter at the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, actress Rae Dawn Chong spotted him and cast him in a horror comedy. That was his break. Today, at 47, he's the star of Jurassic World and the Marvel Universe. Sylvester Stallone, born July 6, 1946, in New York City. In 1972, he was making $39 a week. He owned one coat, and that coat was basically his home. He slept at the Port Authority bus terminal, outside the post office, and on freezing cold sidewalks during winter. Then he wrote the script for Rocky in 3 days. He refused to sell it unless he could star in it. The rest is history. Today, at 79, he's one of the most iconic action stars ever. Tiffany Haddish, born December 3, 1979, in Los Angeles, California. She was homeless 3 separate times in her life. She lived in her car, stayed in shelters, and showered at gyms. She was so hungry, she would crash wedding receptions just to eat. One night, comedian Kevin Hart found her sleeping in her car outside the Laugh Factory. He gave her $300, put her in a hotel, and told her, "Write down your goals and take 1 step toward them every single day." Tiffany made that list. Then Girls Trip exploded, and so did her career. Today, at 46, she's one of the highest paid comedians in Hollywood. Steve Harvey, born January 17, 1957, in Welch, West Virginia. In the late 1980s, he quit his job to become a comedian. When a couple of his gigs got canceled, he suddenly found himself with no money and no place to live. For 3 full years, he lived out of his 1976 Ford Tempo. He showered at gas stations, hotel pools, and swimming pool locker rooms. He said, "You can survive a week," but this was 3 years. Then he got a call to host Showtime at the Apollo. That phone call changed everything. Today, at 69, he's one of the most famous faces on television. Shania Twain, born August 28, 1965, in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. She grew up in a house filled with violence. When she and her mom finally escaped, they had nothing. They ended up in a homeless shelter in Toronto, sleeping on cots lined up against the wall in a crowded hot room. Shania promised her mom she would get them out of there. She used that pain to become one of the biggest country music superstars on the planet. Today, at 60, she's a legend. Jewel, born May 23, 1974, in Payson, Utah. She was sexually harassed at her job and got fired. She started living in her car, but then her car got stolen. She was washing up in public restrooms and singing on street corners to survive. One day, she was performing at a coffee shop in San Diego and got discovered. Her debut album sold 12 million copies. She went from that coffee shop to world tours. Today, at 52, she's an icon. Ed Sheeran, born February 17, 1991, in Halifax, England. At 16, he moved to London with nothing but a guitar. In the early days, he was sleeping on the streets, on friends' couches, and sometimes outside. He was busking with his guitar, posting videos on social media, and just grinding. When the A-Team blew up, nobody knew about those nights on couches and sidewalks. Today, at 35, he sells out stadiums around the world. Kurt Cobain, born February 20th, 1967, in Aberdeen, Washington. As a teenager, he got kicked out of the house and started sleeping under bridges, on strangers' couches, and in his car. In the early days of Nirvana, he was living on the streets of Seattle, going hungry. Then Nevermind dropped, and Smells Like Teen Spirit shook the world. Unfortunately, the darkness from those early days never really left him. On April 5th, 1994, he took his own life at just 27 years old. Jim Carrey, born January 17, 1962, in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada. When he was 14, his accountant father lost his job, and the family lost their home overnight. Jim, his parents, and his siblings ended up living in a tent in his older sister's backyard, and later in an old Volkswagen bus. He worked 8-hour shifts at a factory after school and did janitor work at night. Those brutal days making his mom laugh with impressions and physical comedy turned him into the Jim Carrey we know today. Now, at 64, he's one of Hollywood's highest-paid comedians.